is it?
Yeah.
Classy Pants. What's that? It's the new Pixar movie.
Oh.
Oh, it's very good, isn't it?
Old Pixar.
You guys all look very cool, by the way. Thank you very much.
Well, I think you look cool too.
Well, you know, appreciate that.
I need to go touch it.
Touch it intensely and you're good. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Happy?
Sorry, cheeky.
You want to fix that wire?
Just move that lamp down just a tad so it's not right on the shoulder.
Am I?
No, yeah,
One of these things.
keep coming, keep coming.
You guys remember the first interviews you guys did as a
All the
band?
way to where the farmer can.
Some of them.
Let's go.
Some of them, yeah. There was a guy called Red Ronnie that we all remember quite well.
Yeah.
An Italian, mad Italian.
Nice guy.
Used to come into
He made us eat pasta.
No, he didn't. That wasn't.
Oh, sorry. That was
That's a big bearded, grey bearded guy. I remember that very well.
Red Ronnie used to come to the Legacy Hotel.
That's right. He recorded the reggae version of Planet Earth.
He was quite innovative.
Yeah. He had a very controversial and very popular chat show on the radio. What was it called? Dance Party. Oh.
Okay. You tend to get lost in the clouds, and all he was still making.
Yeah, that didn't, and it was. Yeah, and
And
then
he bought Jimi Hendrix's guitar in auction for 350 grand.
I'm going to go in, so you're 5 minutes late.
That was the peak of his success.
You can just squeeze in there and stay there for the duration.
Brighten it up.
Right.
Something different. All right. Try to keep this short.
Okay.
You guys have a lot of talking to do today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're good? All right. Just talk about how great it is for you guys to be sitting here together, the five of you. Did you guys ever think this would happen again? Who did? Who didn't?
I definitely always thought
great.
it would happen.
I thought I must admit, I thought the moment had passed.
Really?
Yeah, I really thought that. So,
Wow.
I mean, to get the call, was fantastic. It was great because it's something everybody always asks you. When you're going to get the original band together. When you can do it, and it finally happened.
Did that haunt you for
good.
years? Because were you the first to go? I'm trying to remember this story.
I think I went pre-Andy.
Yeah.
A long time ago now, but yeah, it's something it's always in the back of your mind. I think
You say you got the call. How did that work? Was there a? Did you guys
Well,
talk?
I think
we got together, the
Yeah.
three of us, and we were all in LA actually, and we decided to give them both a call, and
see,
Yeah.
just test the water, really,
Yeah.
see what they felt like about it, and it was pretty positive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right from the word go.
I mean, I think the thing is, you can work with a lot of different people, but when five of you have an incredible chemistry together, that's quite rare, and we sort of all realised that, particularly having worked with other people since and made some great records amongst us, but actually the energy that we sort of create together was something we wondered whether we could create again, and there was only one way to find out, which is why we got together, and first thing we wanted to do was get in a room, plug in the instruments and see what happened.
Were you nervous? And what if it didn't work? What if things didn't go?
We knew that the personalities gelled.
We got a fabulous big villa in Saint-Tropez and took a load of equipment down and set it up, and then we went out for the night. and just put ourselves in circumstances perhaps that took you away from, you know, everyday normal life, which is what you need, and to see if we actually had any, you know, we wanted to start firing ideas around, and if there was any real drive there. But it's like Nick said, you know, I guess we'd all done enough around and different formats and different things, then you kind of know where you're strongest. You know, I've done a lot of different things, but this is where you get the best. Personally, I think we all probably get the most out of this lineup of a working unit.
Put into words the first time it all kind of gelled again, the 5 of you guys are playing together. Something in your mind click back to a certain time? Did it all feel really natural? Did it feel...
Well, we were playing music in that little room in the villa. And I think we just Nick started playing up a keyboard part, and Andy's just got keyed in with the guitar very quickly, and Roger was playing drums. And
Took me a few weeks, didn't it, to get my part together?
that's not true. That's not true. It's not true. It was minutes, and then I started seeing something. And it was just, you know, that's it. Engines going, planes up in the air again.
It just felt so familiar.
And it was, yes, really, just a familiar feeling.
New engines,
yeah.
Nice new clean engines, and lots of fuel.
Reconditioned.
And we had a song the first day we played, so we went to bed feeling pretty happy.
Which is cool, because we've always been like that. When we first met back in the day, the material came pretty easy to us, you know, and then life gets complicated, you know, but that's one thing we've never had problems doing, when the 5 of us plug in and play together. And well, when we plug in with each other and play, then, you know, we got this thing that works.
Actually, and Roger and John and myself, about 6 weeks before we went away, we went and spent a couple of weeks in the studio just playing together, like as a bass, drums and guitar thing. And that gelled really quick as well. And even from then, we got something out of everything we did, which is really the test. You know, it's not like, well, did you do it? But is there something that actually you think, yeah, you know, and every time we got together, we got a song or two, and it, you know, it's gradually sort of culminated into...
Yeah, and I think it's gone right to the live thing now, just on a tour of Japan. And the energy and the you know...
You start remembering why you really enjoy this when you play live. You know,
just the chemistry is just, it's there, and it's just great, you know.
You guys knew you had the fan base. It's exciting knowing coming together. There's already...
I don't think you know anything these days. You can't take anything for granted, you know, and until the tickets go on sale, the records in the stores, you just can't, you know, you just can't. But, you know, that's what's reassuring about the 5 of us, being in a room and playing and making this sound and the energy of these songs, you know, working, whether it's the new material we've been writing or the older songs. And that's something that is for sure, you know. Well, then is it going to have the same effect on an audience when we take it out there? We don't know. We think so, because that's what happens, you know, the chemistry that a bunch of guys can make when they plug in electric guitars. You know, historically, we know it can have a big effect on an audience, you know, if the lights are right. So, you know, we're hoping that when we take it to the people here and whatever, that they're going to get it. They're going to feed off our energy.
Talk about celebrating the old songs. So part of what you're doing is celebrating who you guys have been. It's like the anniversary.
Well, it was an amazing thing when we got on stage the other night in Osaka, and we opened with... we opened with Friends of Mine, which is a song off our very first album, and then followed that with Hunger at the Wolf and Planet Earth. And... you know, they've become little classics in their own right, and to suddenly be standing up there playing them again for the first time in 17 years in front of an audience who were going bananas was a magic moment for me.
And grapes and apples.
Yeah. And lychees.
How much do you guys love these songs? These songs have been around for so long, and people love them so much. How much do you guys, I never heard you guys talk about just these songs themselves, like Hunger, like Wolf and Friends of Mine. What do you feel when you play?
Well, of course, we've heard the singles a lot, you know, because there's the hit album that goes everywhere we go. I think when we started rehearsing for the show and we started like pulling out like, well, the song that opened side 2 of that record, and that's where the soul of the band lives, actually, not so much in the video songs that you see on that you see on TV all the time, but the album tracks, the darker side of the band, and that's where we really started to find ourselves again.
Any songs in particular you guys especially enjoy playing now that maybe you haven't?
Waiting for the Night Boat for me. It's fantastic.
You know, the strange, I mean, it's a long show we've been doing, a lot of songs, and there's not one of them I don't enjoy playing.
No.
That's the truth of it.
It goes right through to the stuff that these guys did in the dances as well. You know, it's all great stuff to
How do you kind of balance the vibe of looking forward and recording new music and playing together and doing the old stuff? How do you kind of balance the...
What, for a live show?
I think we're quite lucky, really, because, you know, when we came to do the live shows, we had such a big catalogue to choose the songs from this time that we all zeroed in on the same ones, the same areas, the things that we really thought we should play or that we hadn't ever played before or that would be exciting together. And when we write, it's very much the same because the cream really does rise to the top. You know, things that somebody likes, they've got to like a lot to be able to push everybody else to say, come on, we want this one to work. Otherwise, it just naturally dies off and we end up with the strongest stuff. I mean, that's part of how the chemistry of the band works.
How do you guys see the new stuff fitting in either with your old catalog or with songs today? Is that something you guys even think about, or do you just let it happen?
Well, I think we've just got to be us. And all of us are really always on the edge listening to music, and, you know, we go to clubs still a lot, and, you know, hip-hop clubs, dance clubs. I mean, we're not dumb old guys who, you know, it's always been something that... And if you don't try and, you know, be true to yourself and challenge your audience, I mean, yeah, you could say, let's get him and let's sound like that, and, oh, that'll work. But that would be pretty crass, you know, after sort of 20 years of making records. But it's amazing, actually, when we've put the new stuff in with the old stuff and made a setup, the audience tell you. But it hasn't went low with the new stuff. It's really sort of dovetailed in really well, and it just sounds like Duran Duran. I mean, that's all we can really say, but...
We're testing out a bunch of new material in the live show, which is something we always used to do, you know, with the first few albums we wrote together. And so, in a way, it's going back to that formula, and we're finding things with them, how the dynamics work, and tweaking the songs, which I think is a great benefit before we finally commit to the recording.
What's your guys' life like now, other than, I know you've been working very hard for a while, but in terms of, there's always amazing stories about... Sorry?
Do you want to...
Oh, yeah. Smart ass.
No.
I thought I got away with it.
Zipper that's showing up.
Oh, okay.
It's the pillar.
Sorry?
Your zip's not undone.
Yeah.
How much of your life was really as jet set and amazing as everyone thought it was? How much of it still continues to this day?
It was all very jet set and very amazing. Of course, we were working so hard, you didn't get a chance to notice it.
But it is now.
And it's yeah.
Jet set, I think we were on a lot of jets. That was basically it. I mean, we travelled an awful lot and worked a lot, played a lot of live shows. For the first 5 years, 6 years that we worked together, we didn't really stop. I mean, we didn't take many holidays at all. It was just one thing after another after another. And in a way, it was that pressure that led to the first sort of breakup.
The first vacation that we took after a long while was in Antigua, and 4 of us all went to Antigua together, right?
Right.
And so we're taking a vacation, and our manager called us up there and said, guys, don't leave.
We're sending the other one.
Andy's coming over, and we've got a film crew coming in, and we're going to make some videos, which, you know, was the Rio video. I mean, so that was capitalizing on a damn vacation that we took, you know.
What? You've taken a holiday?
so
Let's
like,
make a movie.
Film crew out there.
So, you know, everything, when things are going like that, everything you do is art. You know?
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of graft involved. People think it's this jet set lifestyle, but we were touring America coast to coast for months and months and months. People tend to think we just kind of broke through with a bit of luck on the videos, but we worked, you know, we worked very hard.
If you look at any major artists, you know how hard they work. I mean, from Madonna to you know, any other hip hop guys out there now. I mean, they're chasing around the world, doing stuff all the time. Because the other thing is, there's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, even though you can put videos into different countries at different times, they all want you to be there to do performances or TV interviews or shows, whatever it is, and that's an awful lot.
Yeah, in my itinerary, it says, today it says day off, and what am I doing? Talking to you.
Right. So there you have it.
So you guys are willing to do all that again and to be
Yeah, of course, it's part of the process. If you want to get out there and play to people and get people to your shows, you've got to do, you know, you've got to make contact with your audience. You know, it's part of the process.
such a big part of, I think, your guys' appeal, and probably to you too, and when you were creating this music, was the sense of adventure you guys had in the music, not even in the video, just in the songs themselves. How much of that was kind of self-created, things you wanted to kind of do, be? How much?
Yeah, very much.
We've always liked to push things a little bit further. I mean, every aspect of it is interesting to us. I mean, John and I, you know, whoa.
My
Somebody want to get that?
Is there a cordless around there,
Phone,
Carson?
fax or something.
Pass it to me. I hope you're getting on this. Hello. You know, you've caught
the airport.
Yes, she is, but she's outside. Have you tried her mobile? Have you got a mobile? It is. Who's calling? Kathy. Oh, I can't remember it off the top of my head. I can't. Hold on. Carson, can you give Wendy a call, please? I think she's out there. No, just give her a shout. I think she's out on the terrace there.
Just pass the phone out.
Keep going. Sure. Pass on. Is Wendy out there? No? She's not.
Okay.
Okay, so can somebody deal with it?
Yeah, Hi, no, she's not up here. I haven't got her phone number either. Sorry, bye.
I'm gonna call her.
Okay. Tell her called Kathy. Kathy.
Where were we?
Okay.
Just the sense of adventure and
Right.
exotic and fashion, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Well, England, I think the culture that we came from was very outward, you know, and, you know, growing up in England in the 60s, you know, and the world was becoming a smaller place. We were, you know, there was James Bond, there was the Beatles, you know, England was reaching out, you know, and we were taking our culture to the world, and I think we kind of, you know, unconsciously, you know, inherited that, you know, and we very much wanted to, we had this thing, and we were very globally aware, you know, we were aware that the world was out there. We wanted to go, and we wanted to play Japan, we wanted to play New York, we wanted to play LA. We didn't just think, I mean, you know, we knew enough bands, and they would think about the city that it was just about Birmingham, you know, and we always projected ourselves around the world, and we had a very, you know, ambitious, you know, we didn't think of it as being ambitious, but I guess it was, you know.
I think we always looked after the details too. When we started, we didn't see the band as someone that would just put some jeans and t-shirts on and go and play our songs. It was about the broader picture, about the artwork on the album and the typeface on the label and the you know, obviously the videos and the photos and the different photographers we'd use, we'd choose very carefully.
Doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Which is a dirty phrase now for a young artist. I want to do my own thing. Oh, not round our record company. You know, and that way, that sort of British pop culture that John was talking about, which it still happens in our country, but doesn't export as much today. The 60s and the 70s really were like massive, and that the glam thing and Bowie and Roxy Music and stuff, where, you know, these are tremendously like powerful influences which really aren't around now to influence perhaps, you know, young English, British kids and stuff. I mean, the phrase British invasion probably doesn't mean the same now, you know, considering we've been at war 6 times in the past 5 years, you know. But it was a musical thing then. Now it's probably thought of as something else, but for some reason British music doesn't export in the same volume, and people don't have the same love for our culture now, not just in this country, but, you know, all over the world. It has demised in that sense, so we do sort of feel like we are flying the flag a bit for that, what's best about British.
And how's the new music kind of filling in that same type of theme? Are you taking it thematically along the same lines as some of the stuff you did before, if not musically? Or?
It's very much Duran Duran. I mean, it sounds like us. I mean, the one thing we did when we started playing was just see where it went. It wasn't a case of we've got to make the record sound like that. You know, I think we have a very natural sound together.
I think also that we're very conscious of not attempting to recreate past successes, because it's not really possible to do that. with that in mind. You can have a success that is equal to or greater than things in the past, but you'll never do it by trying to copy something that was successful before.
It's like if the Beatles had ever reformed, not that I'm saying, but and if they came out and says, "Oh, she loves you," people would just laugh at them. You have to move it on and challenge people, and the technology and other music that also adds to that. But we're still here.
I remember seeing you guys back in '83 or '84, and I remember actually going to the show and actually loving the show, but being upset that there were so many screaming little girls, and thinking, I like these guys are great bands, they're great musicians. Yeah. Was that something you guys dealt with at the time?
Very tough to hear yourself play on
stage. I think it's difficult because when you think of yourself as a musician and songwriters, and you go on stage and you can't hear yourself because of the screaming. I mean, we were all glad they were there, but it was kind of.
Well, I think one thing we never did, we never dumbed ourselves down.
And
we could have done that real easy. Yeah. And we kept raising the bar on our own work, and each album got successively, more interesting. We took our musicianship seriously.
People did make a conscious decision to push it in that direction because that we can sell it in that way. I mean, the record companies are as cynical as everyone believes them to be. And so there was some of that, and that wasn't a conscious decision. When I joined the band, it wasn't like, okay, guys, we're going to be teen idols, and this is where, and that wasn't even an afterthought. It just didn't exist.
It's a strange thing when the sort of teen hysteria started, but I suppose it was because it hadn't really happened much since the Beatles and the Stones and the Doors. And I don't know why there was such a void in between that, but
kind of fell into that void, I guess. Didn't
when it did happen, I think people had thought it wasn't going to happen ever again, and so we were as shocked as anybody.
I mean, if you actually, Hungry Like the Wolf is certainly not written for consumption by a 12-year-old girl. Nor was the Girls on Film video, nor was Night Boat, but that didn't stop the record company. And it
Very
worked.
forward-thinking 12-year-olds, then.
But I guess. The quality of the music kind of won through in the end. I mean, that's why we're sitting here today, because people have stuck with us and continue to support the band, because I think the quality of music is there.
Other than doing this, where you're kind of forced to do it, how often do you guys look back? Is it something you think about or talk about all the time, or is it?
I think because we're together again, we're always like joking about some TV situation comedy from the 60s or some musical reference. I mean, we're always making references to the past, but I think it's a good thing because
we can laugh at it.
Well, I think if you want it, they say if you want to know where you're going, you need to know where you're from, and I think that we're being more honest about where we're from now. And instead of being in denial, which I know I've been through, there was years where I couldn't listen to the music, and now I'm really owning it and really enjoying it, and knowing where we're, feeling good about where we're coming from, and that I don't know, it just helps one be positive about it.
You get to a certain point in your life where you start embracing your past a bit more, because I think when you're young, you just kind of trying to go forward, and as John said, you kind of deny your past a little bit. And you kind of come over the hill and start looking back again, thinking, actually, that was cool, that was good. And I think that's kind of helped the band to kind of come back together.
Mm-hmm. Is there one memory, you guys all have different ones, but something that you look back and just makes you guys smile? Is there a certain memory from your guys' past that was like a definitive moment for you guys?
So there's so many memories. I mean, we basically grew up together. Well, I mean, from our late teens through our early 20s, we did everything together every day. Like a band of gypsies.
For me, there was the one moment when we were shooting a video in Sri Lanka. We all went up and we walked barefoot to this beautiful Buddha, and you had to walk barefoot in front of these statues because it was traditional. And he filmed it. We were standing there in the hot sun watching this thing, and he said, "Right, cut." We went, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh," and run back into the shade.
Didn't see that on the video, though.
No, it exists. I'd love to see that, because that was
the classic. What happened next?
Yeah.
And we did actually get run out of town by a bunch of blokes in orange skirts because they were having a bit of a rally, and they didn't like us filming by the
Oh,
Buddha.
what, the...
and
right.
and then the head honcho guy come in his helicopter, you know, and there was a lot of these.
Some things never change, right?
And we had to leave where we were, filming these Buddhas, because they would have got very aggressive towards us, and the buses had to like depart fairly quickly. So the things you don't see probably are the things you perhaps remember more that people aren't aware of.
And lastly, just your hopes and dreams for the band for the next few years. How would you love to see things?
Well, I think we want to write some songs that kind of get out there and make it into people's minds and consciousness, and have a chance to go and play them in front of people. That's really all. That's all it is for us.
I'd like to keep my hair.
But that's the only reason we got
Well,
back
you
together.
can't have mine.
And everybody else keep theirs too.
Is this as easy to stay as good looking and in shape as it was back then?
Oh, it's never been a
What do
problem
you
for us.
think?
No, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder.
Well, we're not
if
tough
you,
on ourselves,
you know,
no.
you got to be. I mean, when you're 18, who cares? You know, you just do what you like. But yeah, when you're in your 40s, you got to take a little. You got to be a little smarter.
A little bit more disciplined, a little less abusive, a bit more sleep, perhaps take a night off now and again from the fun-loving party. But you know the rules when you're a bit older, don't you? And you just, you know, you don't push yourself into oblivion. Well,
Not every night.
He pushes me into oblivion.
Instead.
Well, here's hoping you
Okay.
guys live through this.
Yeah.
Thanks, thank you.
Pleasure. Indulge me in a photo as well while you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Still kind of.
Oh, we still got our hair.
Jesus.
Am I doing the honors?
Am I doing this?
Since you're the,
you never have that.
since you're the fancy camera guy.
It's all going to go soon.